Thank you, Nicole. And we're so excited because we don't know the amount, so we're excited to be surprised for that. We are so appreciative to Dan Gilbert, the entire Cavs organization, every guest, every sponsor, every donor, the leadership of our board, especially Rob McKinley, who's our leader. And I am personally grateful to the incredible women at the Flashes of Hope office for both their hard work and their friendship. They worked so hard to make this night happen. And I'm so honored to introduce one of my favorite people in the world, Lauren Ramer. I've known 10 years, since you were 10 years old. She and her family have endured so much, and somehow she faces every day with just an uncommon grace. And I know that you'll be so inspired by her outlook and everything she does every day. Lauren.
Thank you, thank you. So my brother and I, we're pretty special. You could definitely say that. We have a genetic mutation that causes us to get cancer more easily. And so because of this, I have personally had cancer 5 times. 5 times. It started when I was 17 months old. I got an adrenal cancer. And from then on, I got 2 brain tumors and 2 bone cancers. And it's all before the age of 16. I can very, very happily say that I finished up chemotherapy in March. Thank you, thank you. And every day, I am gaining back more strength and, quite a bit of hair here. Although my brother's story, it's very different from mine and special in its own way. Brent, he got osteosarcoma like I had. He's had metastatic melanoma and an aggressive leukemia that was caused because of the osteosarcoma treatment that he had to endure. And all of this happened for Brent in a span of 6.5 years. 6.5 years, he spent most of his days in the hospital. And with this came countless surgeries, chemotherapy, radiation, a bone marrow transplant, and every single side effect known to man. And despite all of these horrific events that happened, Brent kept and showed us a mental strength and positivity that truly got my whole family through that journey. I think of Brent as Harry Potter. He had his own Voldemort that he had to face over and over, again and again, with bloody determination. And just like Harry Potter, Brent had the last little bit of his enemy hiding inside of him. Last summer, when Brent was preparing to go for his senior year of high school, in July, he relapsed with leukemia. And he had to wait months until October, when he turned 18, getting sicker and sicker, so he could enroll in an adult clinical trial. And this was because there were no pediatric options. And unfortunately, Brent passed away in December, unable to receive his clinical treatment. And this really is why it means so much to my whole family and I that you're all out here tonight supporting pediatric cancer research. It really does mean the world to me. And this event, it always had a special place in my heart. I always loved, getting all dressed up in these gorgeous gowns and, walking down this runway. And, I'm obviously pretty comfortable up here. And so because of this, my mom and my dad nicknamed me Hollywood. But Brent, not at all like this, drastically different from me. He was, a homebody that just loved, being in my shadow. He was perfectly okay with that. And so we nicknamed him Maryberry. And then one year, Brent surprised us all. He agreed to be in this Big Shots Little Stars event. And that night, he was all dapper in his tux. He goes and he walks down that runway as confident as he could possibly be. And halfway down that runway, he stops, literally stops on the runway, and he takes a selfie with Cavs James Jones. I mean, this is just who Brent was. And Flashes had brought out that side of him that really no one outside of my family ever got to see. And one of the missions of Flashes is to take beautiful photos of children going through cancer for their families. And one day last fall, when I was inpatient receiving chemotherapy treatment, Flashes had come in. And they had offered to take my photo, and I very, very happily said yes. And that volunteer photographer, stayed all afternoon to wait for my brother to come in so that we could take photos together, all afternoon. That kindness and that selflessness that photographer gave to us that day, and that Flashes had given to us through all of these years, really is absolutely amazing. And every child that you see walk down this runway has their own story. And the main ingredient is family and love. And unfortunately, they're all seasoned with a bit of cancer. And my story and Brent's story are a little heavy-handedly seasoned with cancer. But Flashes of Hope captures the family and the love in these photos that are of children with bald heads and IV pumps. But what you really see is that determination, that strength, and really, the love. Flashes, they can't give us hair, but what they can give us is hope. Thank you.